Find Resistance. I'm Frances, and I'm a therapy coach. I coach women to shift their mindset that elevates their thinking so that they can rise and thrive. You know, most people only scratch the surface of what they think is holding them back from moving forward in their lives. Sometimes they believe it's external changes that'll make their lives better or different, such as once I get a new job, or once I make more money, or if I can be in the relationship of my dreams. And other times, it's legitimate fears. But there's one thing that all of these things have in common, and that's what we're going to explore today. So in this video, we're going to explore the number one thing that holds you back from achieving all the things that you want to achieve. And it's not what you think it is. I'm going to teach you a simple technique that you can use to begin changing the way you see things about yourself. That's going to be a game changer. Remember, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I take my clients through this process more in depth in my coaching program, which you'll have an opportunity to be a part of. I had a client who would say things like, I'm not good enough and nobody loves me. Those are some powerful statements to make, right? And this is the lens that she saw her entire life, every day, day in and day out. It's how she related to the world. And this got in the way of her doing the things that she really wanted to do. Everyone looks at the world differently. Two people can have the same exact experience, yet have very different interpretations of what happened. I bet you're wondering, like, how do I let go of thoughts that feel so real and so powerful? Thoughts that have held me back for so long. Thoughts from my perspective have validated the experiences that I've been having all my life. Well, keep watching. And we're literally going to work through this right now. As I stated earlier, this video is going to explore the number one thing that's holding you back from moving forward, from getting unstuck, so that you can actually have forward momentum in your life, so that you can actually eliminate negative thinking patterns and self-destructive thoughts and behaviors so that you could actually thrive. I'm sure you're ready to know what it actually is, right? It's your core beliefs. Your core beliefs drive everything in your life. It drives the decisions you make, the romantic relationships that you have. It drives how you see yourself. It decides what you're willing to and what you're not willing to tolerate. Your core beliefs are the anchor in your life. These are the pillars that you stand on. Think about it. If these core beliefs are consistently negative, then the life you live will also be one that you may not like so much. It'll also be how you see other people, how you view the world. It's through those negative core beliefs. Even though a core belief might be the same, like we may have the same core belief, it'll still feel very different just because people think and feel and behave differently. Even if the core belief isn't true, it still shapes how you see the world. Harmful core beliefs lead to negative thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, whereas rational core beliefs lead to balanced reactions. So people always say that they want to change their thoughts. You really can't change that thought without first changing that core belief. But before we continue to move forward and like how you make that change, I just want to share some facts about core beliefs. You're not born with them. They're learned, which is really excellent news. It means that you can replace them with new thoughts, that as you continue to believe those new beliefs, it'll push those old beliefs way down. It'll become less problematic for you. Another fact is core beliefs usually develop in childhood or during stressful or traumatic periods in adulthood. So again, if you get to the root of that, it changes everything for you. Next fact, information that contradicts core beliefs, we often just ignore them. Even when there's something that tells you the opposite, you'll ignore it sometimes just out of pure habit. For example, you tell yourself that you're overweight, but you're actually the correct weight for your height. Another fact is negative core beliefs aren't necessarily true, even if they feel like it. You know, our emotions are very powerful. They serve as feedback, but even our emotions can spiral into the land of irrational beliefs. And the last fact, the longer you hold on to core beliefs, the more rigid and long-standing they become, which can make it very difficult to change in the moment. But I have good news. I have excellent news. With commitment and the willingness to change them, they can change for good. But before you can change or challenge these core beliefs, you'll need to identify what they are, right? You can't change something if you don't know what it exactly is. One of the techniques that I go through with my clients in my coaching program is we get deep into identifying their core beliefs so that we can actually work on changing them. And what's beautiful about life is we're not as stuck as we think we are. We've just believed it to be true for such a very long time. Therefore, changing them takes work. It takes noticing when they pop up and challenge them right in that moment, each and every time. So you ready to try this with me in real time? So let's use the simple example of passing an exam. And we all remember back in school when we had to take exams and just the social conditioning surrounding grades and all of that. So person A says, I'm a failure. That's their core belief. And that's what they believe about themselves because they failed the exam. So let's take a look at the reactions to that statement. So the thought is, of course I failed. Why bother? Because I already believe that I'm a failure. And so as a result of that thought, the feeling is maybe that person's depressed or there's some sort of sadness there. They have feelings of rejection or they don't feel like they're good enough, right? And so the behavior is the person A doesn't make any changes because you can't make any changes if your belief is that you're a failure. You see where I'm going with this? All right, let's continue. So again, same situation. And now here's person B with a totally different core belief. Person B also fails the exam. Instead of saying that I'm a failure, person B says, I am perfectly capable, when I give my best effort. And that's their core belief. They believe that they are capable, that this exam doesn't shape whether or not, it doesn't shape their success at all. And it doesn't define who they are. And as a result, they're able to separate the action from the feeling and they don't overly identify with it. So let's take a look at persons B reactions to that statement. So the thought is, I did poorly, I didn't prepare. We're going to have to be honest with ourselves when it comes to core beliefs. I didn't prepare for the exam. So, which makes sense. If I didn't prepare, then that means that I failed. Instead of feeling depressed or sad, you feel disappointed, right? You can get past the disappointment, right? Being depressed and entrenched in sadness is a little bit harder, but a disappointment, you can get past that. So the behavior is, well, I just plan to study before the exam next time, right? Maybe I'll find a tutor. Maybe they'll ask how they can do better next time with the teacher. So somebody who has a core belief that they're capable will find solutions to what didn't work. And that's part of that growth mindset, which I know I've talked to you guys before about. And, when you have a growth mindset, you try to see the possibilities of something being different. But when you have a core belief that's really fixed in a negative connotation, it makes it really hard for you to find any solutions to any quote unquote problems, which I don't believe we have problems. Everything's a lesson, right? So what I want you to do now is just write down all your negative core beliefs, all the things that come up for you, the ones that when you think them make you feel really negatively, make you feel terrible about yourself or sad. And I encourage you not to judge the process, because things are going to come up. Just be curious. Be a curious observer of what comes up for you as you write these things down. Then I just want you to take a moment and find 3 pieces of evidence that contradicts those negative core beliefs. There has to be one thing that shows you otherwise, that this belief is not true. And I just want you to practice this shift until you're able to catch yourself when you're in the moment. Be gentle with yourself as you go through this process, because you'll discover things about yourself that will surprise you both in a very positive way and maybe in a not so positive way. Let me know if that was helpful for you. Drop me a line in the comments below and let me know if you're going to try this. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with someone you care about. Also, you'll get there's a link to the worksheet that has a bit more in-depth questions that you can actually use. And I use this worksheet with my clients all the time. So it's yours, free for the taking. Before I go, my coaching program starts soon. Just sign up for the newsletter so you can get more detailed information. As always, thanks for listening, and thanks for taking the time to do this really, really hard, but beautiful, beautiful work. See you next time.